I'll call this meeting of the Board of Health to order. We'll begin with a roll call of the members.
Member Gall.
Here.
Member Lopez.
Here.
Member Reel.
Here.
Member Pecora.
Here.
President Pro.
Here. We have minutes from the regular board meeting of the Board of Health, November 26th and December 3rd.
Proven. Second.
We'll do a roll call on the minutes.
Member Gall.
Yes.
Member Lopez.
Yes.
Member Reel.
Yes.
Member Pecora.
Yes.
President Proper.
Yes. Correspondence, the Department of Health has received an appeal letter from Mr. Gary Dialgardy for the public nuisance property at 18 Interstate Parkway. The letter was received on December 13th, 2024. I also want to, under correspondence, request, since we have went to remote, since our court stenographer is remote, I would ask that as we conduct the meeting, we slow down our questions and our comments a bit and speak up as much as we can so that she is able to get an accurate record of the proceeding. Next, we'll move on to petition and hear visitors from anyone who is not involved in the appeal hearing this evening. Move on to old business. We have a couple of nuisance waivers to enter into the record. A nuisance property waiver for 22 to 24 Maplewood Avenue, Colleen Curcio of Bradford, and a nuisance property waiver for 13 Terrence Street, James F. Lee of Bradford. And next, we will move on to, do we need motions for those? Okay. Excuse me. So I will entertain a motion.
Is he gonna give us some information about him?
If the board would like information on both waiver properties, I will elicit testimony from Mr. Plowman.
They're basically just handing it over to us and saying, go ahead and demolish it.
Correct.
So both these, well, I know the one is beyond repair, 22, 24 is beyond repair. And this person doesn't have the financial means to take it down.
All I'm aware is that the property owner signed the waiver to have, they agree that the properties are public nuisances.
As the first property, is that woman, does she live in Bradford? Are we familiar with her?
That I do not know. I'd have to elicit testimony from Mr. Plowman.
She resides in Bradford.
Should I be sworn in?
Yes.
So,
Swear.
Do we need to swear for these also?
I would prefer that.
Okay, well, we're going to, I think to make it a little bit smoother, I would ask anyone who is planning on doing testimony for any of the business that we're going to conduct this evening, to stand at this point and be sworn in, so that we don't have to stop during the proceedings. So,
I need to stand up?
yes, if you would, please.
Absolutely.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or testimony you give?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Plowman, if you could state your name.
Brandon Plowman,
And you are employed
it's
in what capacity?
the health director for the city of Bradford.
And how long have you been in that position?
One,
And before that, you were employed, correct?
correct.
And in what capacity?
I was a property maintenance officer for the city of Bradford.
And were you employed before that position?
Yes.
In what capacity?
I worked for a local contractor here in Bradford for 12 years.
It's fair to say you have about 14 years of that experience?
Yes.
Okay. And in your current position, do you have any special certifications or licenses?
Yes, I certifications that I've earned through the city of Bradford.
And those certifications require annual updates or renewals?
Yeah.
Mr. President, I would offer Mr. Plowman as an expert in science.
Accepted.
And when it comes to the waiver property for 2224 Maplewood Ave, could you tell the board briefly the conditions of that property?
The property has been vacant for several years. It is dilapidated. It is in poor condition. It is overgrown. The porches on the structure are entirely dilapidated. And we also receive calls every now and again to go up and check the structure for squatters, which this is a structure that squatters seem to frequent.
And is the current owner Colleen Curcio?
Yes,
Do you know if she resides here in Bradford?
yes,
And Colleen signed, Ms. Curcio, strike that, signed the waiver, correct?
correct. She signed the waiver for 2224 Maplewood.
Thanks. I have no further questions regarding this waiver.
Any questions from the board?
Do we know that whether or not she has the means to take these down on her own?
She does not. She's kind of an elderly lady. She has had 2 marriages, and since then, both of her husbands have passed.
So we would seek an order approving the waiver.
Or was it already declared a public nuisance?
Oh, I'm sorry. And Mr. Plowman, it's, in your opinion, a public nuisance, correct?
Yes,
Because of the conditions you testified to, correct?
correct.
Okay. So you're right. We would need an order approving, or excuse me, declaring it a public nuisance, and a second one approving the waiver.
I make a motion we declare 2224 Maplewood a public nuisance.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion for by member Reel with a second by member Pecora to declare 2224 Maplewood a public nuisance. Do a roll call vote on that?
Member Gall,
Yes.
Member Lopez.
Yes.
Member Reel,
Yes.
Member Pecora,
Yes.
President Proper.
Yes.
I make a motion we grant the property waiver for 2224 Maplewood Avenue for demolition.
So moved. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the waiver made by member Reel and seconded by member Gall. We'll do a roll call.
Member Gall,
Yes.
Member Lopez.
Yes.
Member Reel,
Yes.
Member Pecora,
Yes.
President Proper.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to 13 Terrence Street.
And Mr. Plowman, regarding 13th Terrence Street, you had occasion to observe that property?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could testify to the board the conditions you observed regarding 13 Terrence Street?
This structure is visible on multiple spots throughout the city. It is the blue house that is on the high side of West Gordon Street, and it is just about ready to fall over. There's absolutely no salvaging.
And are you aware of who owns 13 Terrence Street?
Yes,
And who is that?
James Lee Bradford.
Okay. And he signed the waiver, correct?
Correct.
And the conditions you testified to, it's in your opinion that 13 Terrace is a public nuisance, correct?
Correct.
We would seek an order declaring 13 Terrace Street a public nuisance and a second one approving the waiver.
I think most of us are familiar with this property and with Mr. Lee, so I make a motion we declare 13 Terrace Street a public nuisance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to declare 13 Terrence Street public nuisance made by member Reel and seconded by member Pecora. Roll call vote, please.
Member Gall,
Yes.
Member Lopez.
Yes.
Member Reel,
Yes.
Member Pecora,
Yes.
President Proper.
Yes.
I make a motion we grant the property waiver for 13 Terrace Street for demolition.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the waiver for 13 Terrence Street made by member Reel, seconded by member Lopez. Roll call vote.
Member Gall,
Yes.
Member Lopez.
Yes.
Member Reel,
Yes.
Member Pecora?
Yes.
President Grover?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to new business for this evening. And to begin with, we have an appeal hearing regarding a nuisance property at 34 High Street, which is owned by Douglas Schultz. First, has the city received all required paperwork to proceed with this appeal?
Yes.
All right. I have a short little procedural thing that I'm going to start with at each hearing now. And the procedure we will follow this evening is the appellate, that is you, Mr. Schultz, will begin by presenting to the Board of Health the reasons you are appealing the findings that the property you own is a public nuisance. It is to your benefit to be as specific as possible. First, if you believe your property not to be a public nuisance, please give us specific information that would convince us to rescind our previous order. If it is your intention to correct the problems stated in the Board of Health order, you must provide specifics on what will be done to correct all deficiencies noted. We must know the scope of work to be done to correct all deficiencies, as well as specific dates when the work will be completed. We will need to know that you have the financial resources to complete the work. Also, please let us know your intended use of this property if the corrections are successfully completed. It is your job to convince us that your plan for this property is in the best interests of the citizens of the city and the neighborhood in which it is, and that you have the desire and resources to accomplish the job. After your presentation, the board will ask you questions if needed. Then the city will be given the opportunity to address the issue with this property, and questions will follow. After the completion of the city's presentation, follow-up questions may be asked by all involved. We have already sworn those who intend to testify this evening, so we can move on with your presentation on your property at 34 High Street.
I had some renters in there, and they destroyed my house. And they tore the back porch off. It was terrible that they did that. Well, my wife, she had read that she's had some illness and had some problems. So that was my first number one. It got away from me. But I was there, I don't know, probably 2 weeks before they put that on my wall, and it was already cleaned up, totally except for the fence. I put everything on the driveway side. The driveway was clear. I have pictures right here I will show you. It was just lumber laying around. It wasn't a rat trap or anything. The rats were already in the house for crying out loud and ate everything. Some people were absolutely horrible. Come on, here we go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it not a requirement for the complainant or the person appealing to bring pictures, copies of pictures for the board?
Generally.
Well, they're not going to be in the record without either having the mechanism that Mr. Gold, member Gold, suggests, or secondly, Mr. Schultz requesting you to keep the record open to submit paper photographs, because there's no other way to get that in the record.
Yeah, so I have to go take pictures of it and give it to you.
Well, they have to be in the record.
Well, I'm saying that means I have to go get pictures to bring to you.
If you have pictures there, you could email them to us and we could print them off. If you have the ability to do that in your phone.
I don't know how to do that. I'm not good with these things. I'm still trying to learn,
I'm
but,
not far behind you.
somebody's more than welcome to do whatever you need to do to get this thing.
In the past. it can
Well,
be moving forward.
Yes, yeah,
Extremely
we-
inconvenient,
I think-
taking his
yeah, I
phone
think
when it
that-
doesn't work.
Yeah, to simplify, we have two ways that we can accept evidence. You could request us to leave the record open, and you could send by email those pictures to the health department here in City Hall, and we could then accept those pictures once we get the email. Or you could go somewhere and print the pictures and bring them to City Hall.
Not tonight, another time.
Yeah, not tonight. but yeah.
Well, my wife will send them to you, just have to give me your email or whatever that stuff is, and,
Mr. Schreiber would be able to do
Yeah.
that for you.
okay,
This gentleman right here, okay?
yes.
Let him continue.
You can go ahead and continue, and then I'll give you my email.
All right. So, like I said, it's really all cleaned up. Like I said, the structure of the house is fine. Okay. The backyard was a mess. They totally made a mess of it. Yes. Was it a rat problem? I'd say no, because there's nothing for them to eat. And they did something on the side of the driveway, and they kept throwing shit on the driveway and stuff. Just garbage, paper, boxes. And so my son, who is going to buy the house, okay, he's a contractor, and he's from Pittsburgh, Beaver Falls, I believe he lives there, and he plans on buying the house and revamping it totally. That's what he plans on doing. So it's his hands. My son came on this side of the hill to live, because he hasn't been with me for about, 14 years. And I said, Doug, we gotta clean that house up. So Brian's gonna buy it, so he said, you guys go clean it up. He had a dumpster ordered for it, it's sitting there. Everything that was in the yard, trash, wood, is gone. Everything upstairs is gone. By the way, and that thing, it said something about a roof needing replaced. It's only a 10-year roof, I just put it on. And you know what their answer was? Oh, I didn't know. That's wonderful. But anyways, so that's all there is to it. And the fence that I took down, that was there when I lived there 24 years. Okay, it's been, I don't know if it's my fence or the next door neighbor's fence, but I took it down anyways. It looks 100% better. Everything does. So I don't know what to tell you. And it's my house. Oh yeah, I had to. It's got a 200 amp service put in it. It's got a brand new furnace in it. Has a brand new hot water tank. Redone bathroom, but my son's gonna redo everything. He's gutting everything out of the thing and redo it. And that's that. That's all I can tell you. I mean, you know, it's not a hazard, for Christ's sakes. It's my house. It's solid. It's a shit in the yard that was bad, and make it look like something terrible. And Travis comes to me, and while I'm cleaning it up, he says, "You're doing a really good job. I can take you off the board." And the word I got was, "He's taking it off." No, he ain't, and put the other thing on the board. So he's going to take my house because he wants to. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. There's nothing wrong with my house. Why would you tear it down? Because he said so? You're supposed to help people keep their houses.
I don't think the city's trying to take your house from you.
That's not the information I got. And he was very rude about it.
The goal is to get the house fixed back up.
That's exactly right. And you know what? Everything was cleaned up in the yard. Dumpster wasn't there yet. And they put that sticker on the door, never looked around, didn't see anything. He said, "Oh, it's cleaned up." But he knew it was. And he said, "I'm taking it anyways." Well, that's a dumbass move, if I think. That's very wrong. In with the good, out with the bad. I'm trying to behave myself, so. Yeah, that's my house. It's got a lot of stuff done in it. It's gonna get redone. Like I said, my son's taking it over. He's buying it, and he makes lots of money, so he can take care of it. I guess that's all I have to say.
He will testify, and then you'll have the ability to follow up.
Are,
Thank you very much.
are there any questions for Mr. Schultz at this point?
Some questions, but I'm gonna reserve it until I hear from Brandon.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. City?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The city calls Mr. Plowman as it relates to the appeal hearing for 34 High Street. You've already been sworn, Mr. Plowman. In the course of your employment, you're familiar with 34 High Street, correct?
Mr. Brandon, just for the sake of the record, if you could ask, or just put a statement on the record that this gentleman was accepted as an expert witness before, you'd ask that carry over to today's, or to this hearing right now.
Yes, Mr. Plowman, you've been deemed an expert by the board in this proceeding, which will also apply to the, of course, appeal hearing for 34 High Street.
Is that okay with the board?
Yep. It's fine with us.
Thank you, thank you.
Continue.
Mr. Plowman, you're familiar with the property, of course, at 34 High Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this property was condemned by the city on June 13th of 2023, correct?
Correct.
And the property was subsequently deemed a public nuisance by the city, and that would be by order dated October 22nd of 2024, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm showing you what has been previously admitted as exhibits in that nuisance hearing as exhibits A1 through A27. You're familiar with those exhibits, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. President, I would just like the board to take judicial notice of exhibits A1 through A27, which were photographs taken on October 11th. And Mr. Plowman, I know October 11th was a few months ago, but have you had occasion to visit 34 High Street from that date to today's date?
Yes,
Okay. And when did you observe 34 High Street recently?
today.
Today, okay, December 17th. Any changes that you observed regarding 34 High Street from that date to today's date?
Yes, so the wood debris has been removed from the yard. There is still, an accumulation of garbage, debris, broken glass, things of that nature that are scattered out around the exterior of the structure. The only other thing that I had noticed on the exterior of the structure that I believe would be on exhibit A7, that a 2x8 had been placed over top of the exposure where the side porch had been removed. Other than that, I was not able to observe any improvements to the exterior of the structure.
Focusing on some specific conditions regarding 34 High Street, did you make any observations regarding the exterior of the structure?
Yes,
And specifically, what observations did you make?
that the front porch is in poor condition. Regarding the porch floor is mostly deteriorated. There is still debris, garbage, bed mattresses on the front porch. The entire siding on the structure is in poor condition with peeling paint, missing in spots, has penetrations due to must be blown-in insulation that was installed at one point.
I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Plowman. Let's go back to the porch. Specifically, you said the floorboards of the porch were rotted and deteriorated, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Other than that condition, are there any conditions of the porch that would need remedy to make that no longer a violation of the code?
Yes, so the entire front porch structure would need to be basically rehabilitated, whether it be the guards around the front porch, the structural integrity underneath the floorboards. It's tough to determine whether the structural joists are in good condition at this point, and also the footings underneath the joists would need to be reinforced.
And those conditions you testified to are in violation of the property maintenance code, correct?
So,
And specifically, that would be section 304.10, correct?
correct.
Let's go back to the exterior. You started to testify regarding the siding specifically. What observations did you make regarding the siding as it relates to the property maintenance code?
The siding on the entire structure is in poor condition with peeling paint, rotting material, holes, breaks, missing in several areas.
Section 304.6 of the code states that exterior walls shall be free from holes, breaks, and loose or rotting materials and maintained weatherproof and properly surface coated where required to prevent deterioration. What did you observe regarding the facts of this 34 High Street as it relates to that code?
The exterior of the structure is not off the code regarding this ordinance.
And section 304.2 states that peeling, flaking, and chipped paint shall be eliminated and surfaces repainted. What did you observe regarding any peeling, flaking paint, if any?
That the entire exterior of the structure consists of chipped, peeling, flaking paint.
And the appellant testified that the main roof, is up to code. Did you observe any other conditions regarding roofs of 34 High Street?
Yes, you can see in Exhibit A10 that the rear structure portion is, the roof is in poor condition and has exceeded its life expectancy of the asphalt shingles.
And that would be section 304.7 of the code, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware of any utility service on the property?
I believe there may be electrical service there, but the gas services are terminated at this time.
And because of those conditions you testified to, 34 High Street, in your opinion, is still a public nuisance, correct?
Correct.
And it's because of those conditions, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions, Mr. Flatley. I have a question. These photographs you submitted were taken on October 11th, 2024, this year. The picture that shows the driveway shows a couch, a long vehicle, bench seat, shopping cart, looks like some broken tables, and other debris. Is that debris still there? It was there over 2 months ago?
That's been removed.
So that, oh, okay, so that all has been,
There is still some debris around the exterior of the structure as well as the front porch. Got mattresses, things like that.
Okay. Any other questions or?
Okay, great.
Okay. I have a couple just questions to clarify a few things on the structure. The front porch in the pictures with the flooring problems and just general disrepair, support underneath the front porch is the same way as it was in those pictures, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The main structure of the house, not including the front porch or the back addition or whatever that is on the back, would you say that the structure of the main house to be in decent shape?
So I would consider that the foundation with some repairs would be in decent condition. And as far as the framing, it's difficult to say without getting into a further examination of what's truly going on there.
Okay, and the roof on the main house appears to be in relatively decent shape?
Yeah, so the roof on the main structure is in relatively decent shape.
Okay.
It's the roof on the rear section of the
Okay.
structure.
So basically that rear structure has a lot of problems.
Correct.
Structurally, roof,
Correct.
top to bottom. We'll get a chance after the city finishes, we can continue, with questions from both sides. Okay, would you say the house is adequately secured at this time?
The house is secure. I
Okay.
don't know about adequately.
Okay.
I think it would be significantly easy if somebody decided they want to push onto that front door, they would be able to get in relatively easy.
Okay, and the final clarification question is, as we go through these pictures, many of them show general, I'll just call it general junk, in the yard, the driveway, the front porch. And, the appellate made the comment that, all of that has been cleaned up. Would you agree that all of that is shown in your pictures from back in October has been cleaned up?
I would agree that the majority of that has been cleaned up. I would say that some of that has been circulated. Whether that has been, all of what is in the pictures has been cleaned up, maybe. I would say that probably there's still some from the exterior. I would say some has been brought out from the interior and placed to the exterior.
Okay, other questions for the city?
Are there still boarded up windows in that one door with it, looks like it had the weaver board on it, the pictures?
Yes.
They're still boarded up and they're still missing siding. Is it your opinion that the building itself is structurally sound?
I would have to be willing to say that the house most likely is structurally sound.
Does that include the framing on the second floor on this picture on the yellow section?
It would require significant work. That is the picture. There has been a 2x8 that probably was laying in the backyard that was nailed up to cover that.
That doesn't make it structurally sound, but discuss that.
You have and you might not have gone through this analysis, but do you have a ballpark of what it would cost to bring the property up to code?
If I had a ballpark, I would say between interior and exterior repairs, I would think upwards of 70,000, 80,000.
And I think the final question I have is that, you have not physically been inside the house.
I have not.
Okay.
Mr. President, I may have missed it. Was there a motion made to enter the photographs into evidence?
Just to take judicial notice
Yeah,
of this.
we took notice, they've been entered, they were entered at the, when we declared the public nuisance.
Okay, thank you.
The fencing, that's still in place.
Yes.
Excuse me? There ain't no fence in the backyard.
Oh, hold on, we'll get there, we're almost there. Any additional question for the city? Okay, all right, we'll move on to any questions anyone has, for either party. Mr. Schultz?
Yes, he said the fence ain't there. Okay? Sir, what's that look like? Do you see a fence there? He said he was there today. Alright, do you see a fence there? No. And you were there today and now you're telling me yeah. You're lying.
Do you have any other questions or concerns for Mr. Plowman?
I do have another question.
For
The
Mr. Plowman?
mattresses, well, the mattresses on the porch are there on purpose because I'm cleaning it out. You cannot put the mattresses in the dumpster because they don't come out. So you have to wait till the dumpster guy gets there and then put them on the dumpster, you know, help them. You don't put mattresses in the dumpster. Do you see a fence there?
I think we will. You go off your picture there. I don't want to look through your photos.
I'm sorry.
It got off of your picture, the fence there. Your personal photo. No, can you show me the one with the fence?
Oh, well, that's one, well, let me find it now. Hold on. Let's go here again. I don't know, albums, pictures. There we go. There we go. See that fence right there?
Our fence is gone.
Yes. You see, it's right here. It goes right from here, clear down here. Alright? And it's not there. This is it. Okay? All that shit's gone. Everything. The posts are gone. I pulled them out of the ground so they ain't sticking up.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's just not
But
there.
that one issue, okay.
Can someone identify the number on the photograph for the court reporter? So-
89 is the photograph we were just looking at.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions for Mr. Fowler?
No, sir.
Okay, any other questions for either party at this point?
So, Mr. Oh,
Good.
Mr. Schultz, the purpose for your appeal is to show the board that we were incorrect in declaring your home as a public nuisance.
Correct.
Would you agree with me that this didn't happen overnight, the condition of this
Oh,
property?
heck no. That didn't happen overnight.
So would
It's
you,
like-
would
it's
you
like-
agree that you had a responsibility to maintain it to code,
I got you.
in code?
And it's like I said in my letter with my wife losing her legs and shit, I had to be with her and that was more important. You know how time gets away from you.
I understand,
And
I
that's exactly
understand.
what happened, but like I said, my son came in, it was clean before, you know, the thing was put on the wall.
However, my point is that,
At that time, yes, it's nasty, I didn't do it. And he was yelling at me about getting the cars out. I can't even get him out, how can I get the cars out? You have to go through, the constable, and then you have to go through the sheriff, and then he still has another month to come back and get his stuff. Are you kidding me?
so I sympathize with you as far as your wife's situation. But my point is this didn't happen overnight.
That's correct.
And you have a responsibility as a homeowner to maintain your property within code.
That is correct, and that's why I
You
played
seem
it.
very upset that you've made a few upgrades, however, for the city and your neighbors, your house is still not to city code. Would you agree with that?
No,
The house, you may have taken a fence down and cleaned some garbage
I
up, but
cleaned
you're,
everything up in there, my house is structurally sound. There's no, the back of the porch, there's only, the roof that's bad in the kitchen, that's it, that addition. I did the one side, I didn't do the other side, I ran out of time. So that's the only thing that's bad on my house as far as the roof is concerned, alright? It's not that bad for crying out loud, just I gotta put a roof finish, putting shingles and shit on it, or a new structure on it. I don't know what it's gonna need.
well, you would have to replace all the windows, you have to replace the
No,
siding.
that's all brand new windows. They just been in there for a while. They're all thermal paint. They all work.
The windows or doors that are boarded up are not up to code. The ones in the photographs that have wafer board on them, that's not up to code to board up a window.
May I see that? I don't know. Okay. This was the porch, okay, that stuck out. There was a door here, all right? And I put studs and everything and drywall it on the other side.
Mr. Schultz, I don't mean to interrupt, but the
Sure.
court reporter has an impossible task when you're pointing at pictures without identifying the number on the picture. So when you point to something and say this, could you give her the number?
Oh, I'm sorry, A22?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's all this is here, was the porch.
There's another one where there's a window boarded up, it's a smaller square, I recognize that this is,
Well, that's the basement windows, I believe, it's been like that forever. See this? I covered that, that was a big window because, that window was right next to the other house, we was looking at each other's
then that
room.
way forever doesn't cancel out that that's still not up to code.
That's been there for 24 years.
Again, it doesn't mean it's up to code, you're not supposed to be able to just board up a window.
Well,
and point it,
everything that has to be up code will be up to code because like I said, my son's buying it and he's going to redo everything on the house.
Okay.
That's the plan.
You You do understand that if we uphold the property as a public nuisance for now, you can go ahead and sell it to your son, and the public nuisance will transfer over to him. He can go ahead and bring it up to code. Do anything or tearing it down, whatever. If he takes steps and keeps making progress, and then when he gets it to a certain point, then we can rescind the public nuisance.
You guys should tear it down.
If you're gonna sell it to him and he's gonna keep making progress on the property, we won't try to tear it down,
Okay,
to my
because
knowledge.
you got me. Okay, from the upstairs, downstairs.
If you keep making progress and keep Mr. Schreiber informed, I think this board would be
Do I
willing
have to
work.
talk to him?
Unless you're gonna talk to Mr. Plowman.
Okay,
Mr.
I'd
Travis.
rather.
What's that?
I'd rather.
Okay.
Okay.
Not very close.
A couple of
Let's see.
follow-up questions for the record here.
Sure.
When was the house last occupied?
I was in, what was last year?
Okay, so it was occupied at some time during 2023.
Oh, absolutely.
It was condemned on June 13th, 2023.
So maybe it's the other
So that's been a
month.
year and a half.
Yeah.
So the people were out then.
Yeah.
So nobody's lived there at least a year and a half. And I think you mentioned that, didn't you mention that you rented it for quite a few years?
No, I rented it one time.
How long?
I don't know, 6 months maybe.
Just once.
Yeah, because here I find out on people that are telling me, you know, that house you have up there. I said, yeah. He says, that's a drug house. I said, what? Didn't have a clue. So that's when I went to the police and had, yeah.
So when it was rented, it was rented within the last 2 to 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was a city rental inspection done on the property before it was rented?
No.
Okay.
Was it ever registered with the city as a rental?
Mm.
You would have to do that.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
Because you have to register them every year with the city and rental and have inspected every other
Yeah,
year.
I registered it, and then they sent me some paper to register again, and I said, no, I'm not renting it again. I'm just gonna clean it up.
But you never had them inspect the inside of the home.
No. I did when I moved in.
No, but when you
But
put
when
the-
they moved- when they-
you put
no.
the tenant in.
Right, no, I did not have anybody look at the place.
Okay. So
Probably,
People did inspect it.
for us to move forward with what Member Reel has suggested, giving you time to complete,
I'm not saying to continue the,
Okay.
I didn't say that. I was just explaining to him that it can be a public nuisance.
Okay.
He'd sell it to his son could make improvements, and it could be revisited again down the road.
yeah, that's probably, but I guess I will ask the question, do you have any specific time in which you feel the property can be renovated to correct all of the issues that were stated in our city order? I guess maybe first, is there a time frame to actually transfer this property to your son?
yeah, it's either the end of this year or the beginning of next year, which would be, yeah, it's only a couple months.
Okay, a couple
So,
of months. So
yeah.
then,
But to get it up to code, probably a year.
How soon do you think he will start work on the property? You think by springtime, you think there's gonna be a
He's
noticeable?
paying me now to work on it as far as cleaning it up, so he's gonna send another people in. I'm tearing everything off the walls, everything. We're gonna bare walls.
I would like to suggest that we not delay the process we're currently in until we get the scope of work with specific things as to when this house will be to city code. Without that, I don't see how we can delay the process, because we could be into December of next year and we're not any further ahead.
I don't know what he said.
So what I'm asking for is if your son's going to purchase it from you in the next 2 months, that he would need to provide a scope of work specifics. We're gonna do the front porch, the siding's gonna be put on, the windows are gonna be, whatever needs to be done to bring it to code.
Alright.
We would need dates of when that work is specifically gonna be done.
I'm kind of curious. My house does need painting, no, there's no doubt about it. When I put all the insulation in it, and I used aluminum to cover the holes to keep the blown insulation in. But if I had to do my house, everybody in town would have to, because it's all the same.
So this isn't personal. This is,
I
this is us
understand it.
enforcing
It just-
the city code.
It's just, I don't
so-
quite understand that part, but my son's dealing with it, I'm not.
Oh.
Okay, so it's out of my hands, really. When he gets the property, he'll have all you'll probably have everything that needs to be done on it when he buys it, so he can see what he needs to do with it to make it right, but he's going to give you probably what he's gonna do with it, so he has to get, what do you call that? You have to go and get something in order to work on your
Well,
house?
we're just looking for a scope of work, so.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I'm not in his head, so I can't tell you, you're asking me something that I can't
Well,
answer.
I'm just explaining what I, as
I
a board
understand
member,
that.
would want, just so you understand.
I'm after him to get it in the next couple of months, just to get it out of my hands, and I'm done with it. I want to be done with it as quick as possible.
And you have to understand that our city code, as we're sitting here, we have a 30-day limit in that city code to allow for either information or renovations to be made. Now, the Board of Health certainly has, in the past, extended that 30 days, but as Member Gall has said, we've only done it when we've had very specific scope of work, information on, in some cases in financing, and very specific dates when the work would be completed, along with an agreement that inspections will
Well,
take
30 days
place.
isn't going to get it.
No, but without some specific agreement on what you could provide the city, such as a scope of work, and very specifics on, let's say, transfer of the property, and further inspections, I'm not sure that we can, 30 days. is
So what are
the
you going to
code
do, tear it
says.
down? Is that what you're saying? If I don't come, you're going to
No,
tear
I go back to Member Reel's comments.
a very good house and tear it down. It's got all kinds of stuff it needs.
Mr. Schultz.
Yes, sir.
To simplify what he said earlier, he expanded on what I usually say. The purpose of appealing is basically two reasons. One is you're here to convince us that we were wrong to declare a public nuisance, and I don't think we were wrong based on the history and all the stuff. Or two, it's your job to convince us that you've corrected all of that, and it's not a public nuisance in any way, it's not in any code violation in any way. You have not done that, and you admitted there are still some issues. So if we deny your appeal, it doesn't mean we're gonna tear the house down tomorrow or next week. You can go ahead and sell it to your son, and if your son keeps making noticeable progress on it, then I'm sure we'll be willing to work with him. Just denying the appeal doesn't mean we're gonna tear it down. That's not what it means. As long as there's some forward progress and there's progress being made in the house, we'd like to work with property owners. You follow me? So again, you didn't convince us that we were wrong to declare a public nuisance. I don't think you dispute that because it wasn't.
No, the back
And
was
then-
definitely trash.
And then you've made some progress and that's great, but yet it's not to the point where there are no code violations, because there are some code violations.
That shit on the outside of that window was not,
It's just one thing. I mean, there's other issues there.
you know, and the window on the porch and stuff, that's been like that for God knows when. And like I said, the fence is there when I moved in 24 years
But the
ago.
fence is gone.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that all this stuff is violation.
So we're gonna take a vote here in a moment. But I
Okay.
want you to know that you can still go ahead and sell it to your son. The public nuisance will be transferred into your son's name once he has the house, as long as he makes forward progress, noticeable progress, and comes up with a scope or timeline, we'll be willing to work with him. But he's gonna have to, once it's in his name, come to the city and say, here's what I'm gonna do over X amount of months. Here's the scope of the work I'm gonna do over
Wonderful.
what time, okay?
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we deny your appeal, and
Okay?
that we deny your appeal.
Second,
Make a motion, we deny the appeal of the property at 34 High Street.
second.
Who seconded?
Well, yeah, excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry. Member Real, if you could use the word firm, just because that's what the code says.
Okay, I make a motion that we affirm that 34 High Street is a nuisance property, and in doing so, we deny the appeal
Thank you.
of Mr. Schultze.
I'll second.
Okay, so Member Reel has made a motion to affirm the Board of Health order on 34 High Street. The motion was seconded by Member Lopez. We will do a roll call vote on that motion.
Member Gall,
Yes.
Member Lucas,
Yes.
Member Real,
Yes.
Member Catora,
Yes.
President Proper.
Yes. Okay,
There being no further business for the Board of Health, I make a motion we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
okay, all those in favor of adjourning?
All right.
Say aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Jane.